Today, we're going to talk about XTB and what many people don't tell you about this broker. We're going to discuss the good things, the bad things, the so-so things, and all the details you need to know if you want to start investing here. So let's just get started with this video. But before anything else, we need to talk about what XTB is and why so many people are talking about this broker and are interested in investing there. XTB is one of the most well-known brokers in the world of trading and investing, but what makes it so? So you might be wondering, what exactly is it that makes this broker so special? To begin with, we are talking about a broker with a massive international presence, which is strictly regulated by highly prestigious global entities such as the Financial Conduct Authority in the United Kingdom or the CNMV in Spain. This solid regulatory backing positions it as a very safe and highly reliable option for anyone operating in the modern financial markets. One of XTB's biggest draws is undoubtedly its proprietary trading platform called XStation 5. Unlike many other generic options you find today, this platform is specifically designed to offer advanced tools for experienced traders, but without neglecting beginners. Quite the opposite is true, in fact. And speaking of this, XTB is particularly strong when it comes to providing completely free education because you have direct access to a wealth of information sources right on their platform. When you log in, you can go directly to the dedicated education section and get plenty of useful information, especially if you are just starting out in the dynamic world of investing. We also really need to talk about something very important. Well, it is a broker just like many others, but what can we actually invest in when we use it? And this is where XTB stands out because it offers 5,800 financial instruments to invest in. These investment options clearly include popular assets like stocks, ETFs, global currencies, and of course various commodities, and we can choose to invest in these either directly by buying the actual underlying asset or alternatively through the use of CFDs. For those of you who are interested and already know about this market, you will know that this approach clearly allows for much greater leverage in your trades. If that's something you're interested in, which I don't recommend, but I'll leave that information here for you anyway. Having so many instruments to invest in means that you'll have the possibility to diversify your portfolio with just one broker. And it is all conveniently located in one place, so you do not have to spend time looking for different platforms to invest. Also, if you are brand new to this world, as I mentioned earlier, the comprehensive training provided by this broker is a very big plus. However, not everything is perfect because, as I said, we have to talk about everything. For example, even though X boasts about not charging any commissions on spot stocks and ETFs up to a certain amount, about $100,000, it is very important to carefully verify the specific details because for some assets, the fees can be significantly higher than the average. There is also an inactivity fee of €10 or $10 per month if your account shows no activity for more than 12 months, which I personally find to be pretty unlikely since just logging in would remove this inactivity. But it is definitely something we need to be mindful of and keep in mind. Now, why do so many people consider XTB one of the best options, and why is it always part of the conversation when talking about the top brokers? And this is primarily because it strikes a perfect balance between ease of use for beginners and also robust security and product diversity, effectively serving the needs of both absolute beginners and more advanced investors. But before committing to any investment decision, it is absolutely crucial to understand how these specific advantages compare to the possible disadvantages. So, let us move on to carefully analyze the comprehensive suite of essential analytical tools that XTB offers to maximize investments and how these can be specifically adapted to different investor profiles. When we talk about brokers, we're also talking about the tools they offer us. Nowadays, beyond the fees, which for the most part are already quite competitive, we need to focus on something very important. As I mentioned, the available tools and how they can benefit you. So let's go ahead and talk about these tools and see what benefits you can actually get from them depending on your type of investor profile or the experience you have. Let's start with the flagship platform we mentioned earlier called XStation 5. This software not only allows you to trade in different markets, but it also includes advanced technical analysis tools such as indicators, oscillators, and customizable charts. Additionally, something many traders really appreciate is the inclusion of real-time financial news, which keeps you updated on global events that could impact your investments. For example, Seeking Alpha or Yahoo Finance and many other things, but really within the same platform, you find everything all in one place. Now, if you prefer to trade from your cell phone, from your mobile device, XTB also has an app that offers practically the same functionalities as the desktop version. This means you can open, close, or analyze trades from anywhere or even on the Same level of precision as if you were on a computer, since the app is quite intuitive and compatible with both iOS and Android, which makes it easy to use no matter what device you have. And on top of that, you have access practically from anywhere. Another aspect that stands out about XTB is its focus on education, as I mentioned earlier. For those who are taking their first steps in the world of trading, the broker offers free courses and webinars on its platform, ranging from basic concepts to advanced strategies. These resources are designed to help you better understand the market and make informed decisions. But be careful, because we often see this education topic as something just for beginners, for those who do not know much or are just starting out. But believe me, even if you already have some knowledge, it will still help you strengthen it even more. So I recommend that even if you feel you have experience, go and check it out. They are completely free. And here it is important to highlight something really significant. A tool that XTB offers that a lot of people love, which is that XTB has personalized investment plans that are ideal for those looking for long-term options. Basically, these plans allow you to set up portfolios based on ETFs, and you have more than 300 options to choose from, including equities, fixed income, and commodities. And these investments or these packages or these investment plans can be automated on a monthly basis through a contribution amount that you set yourself, which is very convenient for those who want to invest in a disciplined way without complications and without having to constantly check the platform. The truth is, I really want to pause here and focus on this point, because it's something that many people have mentioned to me, and it's about their investment plans. Many people like them and benefit from them, because what a lot of people are looking for is simply long-term investment without too much hassle. Here, you just go into this option, choose the ETFs you want to invest in, invest there, set up your investment plan, fix the monthly amount you want to contribute, and that's it. All you have to worry about is depositing that amount of money each month, even with automatic debit. Now, we've talked about a lot of good things, but we also have to talk about the bad things. And the thing is, personally speaking, I've received quite a few comments lately, and I've seen various opinions on different websites that review brokers, saying that while this XStation 5 platform we talked about earlier can be very helpful at first, especially if you're a beginner and just starting to invest, it can actually be a bit complex to navigate. I mean, I'm not really saying the platform is difficult to use, but for many people getting started with it, so much information, so much data at the same time, it might actually confuse them. So it does have a somewhat lengthy adaptation process, because you have to learn how to use all its tools, especially if you haven't previously used another broker with a station or something similar to what this X tool offers. But in the end, it's like any other platform where you need to know what you're doing, where you're investing, how it works, and so on. Now let's move on to what I think is also the most important point when it comes to tools, and that's what we were talking about regarding commissions. This can really determine how profitable a platform can be depending on which one you choose, because it's something not many people consider. But honestly, if a platform charges you 1% more or 1% less, that could mean your profitability increases or decreases, and it could really be more worthwhile to put your money in one place over another. So let's analyze this. When it comes to the trading of spot stocks and ETFs, XTB will not charge you any additional commission fees, as long as your total monthly trading volume remains below the threshold of 100,000 euros, or the equivalent value in US dollars. This is a significant advantage compared to other brokers out there. It is important to note that they often charge commissions even on very small transactions. For example, here we can find platforms like Try in Colombia, Happy, and even eToro, which has recently also introduced new fees and commissions, so it is definitely something to keep in mind. However, once you exceed this specific limit, commissions start to apply immediately, so it is absolutely essential to know your personal investment habits before choosing this service, as it also depends a lot on exactly what you invest in. On the other hand, if you trade currencies or commodities, the spreads can even be significantly above average depending on the specific instrument you choose, IAT. And although these costs are quite standard in the industry, some users on various broker review sites have pointed out that the spreads on certain specific assets could definitely be much tighter than they currently are. And another important cost to consider is what we mentioned earlier about the inactivity fee, which can be 10 euros or dollars per month for accounts that have not registered any activity for 12 months in a row. Regarding withdrawals, XTB offers the advantage of not charging fees on transfers for amounts above a minimum threshold, which varies depending on the country. For this, of course, you would need to register on the platform, which, by the way, I've left a link for in the description and in the pinned comment in case you want to sign up through it. And once you're registered, make sure to check even before depositing what the maximum withdrawal amount is that allows you to avoid any fees, because as I mentioned, it depends on each country. However, if you withdraw relatively small amounts of money, you might incur additional fees. Additionally, for traders looking to trade with the use of financial leverage, XTB also applies costs associated with this specific modality, although the exact details can also vary depending on the asset and the amount of leverage used. It's extremely important to keep in mind that these fees can significantly diminish your overall trading profits if you don't manage your trades properly. And clearly, the most advisable thing is always to frequently check XTB's official website and documentation, since commissions and fees can change over time. This is valid advice for any broker, since policy updates often reflect changes in the market or in regulatory requirements. Furthermore, in addition to these various updates, they can also bring along new fees, new updates to minimum amounts, maximum amounts, and so on. Since I've basically said that all the actions we're talking about are absolutely crucial, well, they literally are, and the next one for some people is even more significant, the critical area of security and regulation. In a time when we find 20,000 brokers everywhere, some regulated on some remote island, others in some distant tax haven, others in a wide variety of different and often obscure locations, this clearly requires a very thorough and deep analysis. With so many platforms out there today, it truly provides a massive sense of relief and security to have platforms that are strictly regulated in reputable locations, where regulation is genuine and rigorous oversight, and not just a little office on a remote island or in a small town where two people work and say, yes, we're verifying and validating, but rather something that is prominent in a country that strictly enforces the rule of law. So let's analyze this section within XTB. XTB is regulated by renowned financial entities, which ensures that it complies with strict international standards. Among the regulators overseeing XTB are the National Securities Market Commission, also known as CNMV in Spain, the Financial Conduct Authority, also known as FCA in the United Kingdom, and of course the Financial Services Commission of the ICE, among many others. Remember that depending on where you are located, the regulation applied to your account will also vary. So at the time of registration, this information will likely appear in your details, and if it doesn't, it's recommended that you contact support and say something like, hey, I'd really like to know which regulation applies to my account to be more certain about this. These institutions ensure that the broker operates transparently and complies with the local laws of each country, in the various countries where it provides its financial services. That is why it is essential for you to know under which specific regulation your account might fall. Now we know for a fact that this broker complies fully with the MiFID directives, which is basically the Markets in Financial Instruments directive, specifically within the territory of Europe. For those who might not know, this means that in the European Union, the regulations and laws are actually quite strict. So this means that the broker must guarantee a high level of client protection, transparency in all of its operations, and the proper management of all users' funds. Regarding the matter of fund security, XTB utilizes segregated accounts. This essentially means that all clients' money is kept separate from the broker's corporate assets. This is absolutely essential in the event of insolvency, as it guarantees that your personal funds are not used to cover the company's debts. XTB offers negative balance protection for its retail clients. This means that even if the markets move rapidly against you and you have a leveraged account, you will not lose more money than you initially deposited. As for technology, XTB uses advanced encryption protocols to ensure that users' personal and financial information is protected, and its platform is equipped with SSL certificates. This ensures that transactions and data are protected against potential cyber attacks. However, no system is completely immune, which is why it is always recommended, especially on platforms where you are depositing your money, to first use secure passwords and above all to enable two-factor authentication. This way, you can always stay alert to possible fraudulent emails or links, which can further strengthen your security. Although XTB has a very solid reputation in this regard, after reading many reviews online, we have found that on certain occasions, some users have reported occasional outages on the platform during periods of extreme market volatility. However, there aren't that many comments of this kind. I simply felt it was important to mention that. Now we need to go a little further, and that's it. Let's move on to the topic of customer support and customer experience. I'll also speak from my own perspective and from what I've analyzed in different reviews across the internet. The first thing to note is that there is an extremely strong point where this broker stands out, especially for Latin America, and that is that XTB's customer support is one of its strengths, as they offer assistance in several languages, for example, including Spanish, and they are available via live chat, email, and phone. The response is actually usually quite fast and effective, which is clearly vital when you need urgent help during trading operations. And many people, many users have praised the willingness of this support team to resolve questions, whether they are simple or complex. However, some users have also reported somewhat long wait times during periods of high demand, such as during events of high market volatility. However, to be honest, I'm not sponsoring or promoting this or anything, because this video is really going to be about all the famous brokers out there, and I'm going to talk about both the good and the bad. But here I do have to point out that this is practically the broker with the best support I have seen, because as soon as you register, they already contact you directly via WhatsApp or call you in the case of Latin America from Chile, where they have their offices, and here in Spain directly from Spain, since they also have offices here. They greet you, ask how you're doing, if it's your first time investing, if you want information, if you want to know how this market works, if you want to know how a certain ETF works. Of course, they're not going to tell you, look, invest in this because you'll make a lot of money, but you can have that investment ally. In other words, you can have a direct advisor who helps you discuss investment topics, answer any questions or concerns you have, and they also send you analyses prepared by the platform itself through their partners or experts in different areas. This makes the platform quite easy to use, having that ally, unlike other platforms where you sign up and nobody calls you or says anything at all. As for customer service, as I mentioned earlier, the only thing that might happen is that during times of high demand for customer service, you might have to wait a bit longer, but otherwise the responses they give you are quite good. So in that sense, I don't see anything else negative. Now, to give a conclusion, is it worth investing in XTB? After reviewing all these features, the good, the bad, the not so good, and everything we've discussed in this video, we can say yes, depending on the regulation that applies in your country and depending on the type of investor you are. Because maybe you prefer to invest for the long term, which is quite good since you can invest with their investment plans. If you're already a trader, it's also good. However, there may be other platforms that could surpass this one, and we'll talk about those in future videos. So with that said, leave me your comments. Are you going to register? If you're already registered, how has your experience been? As you know, my videos work like a wiki, where each of you can come and comment saying, hey, I had a good experience with this broker, or it didn't go well for me. And that way everyone shares their experiences. We'll see each other next time. And if you made it to this point in the video, leave an architect emoji, or rather a builder emoji, in the comment section so we know who made it to this point in the video. See you next time. Bye bye.